G'day lads, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going through my AFL Round 23s, giving my prediction to see which team who's going to walk out with the win. And final series is around the corner just yet, and we are just one more round to go before final series is about to begin. I'm going to be going through to these teams to see who's going to be walking out with the win from this week's game. So let's get straight to it and some thoughts about it. It's starting off at Marvel Stadium. It is Collingwood versus Brisbane Lions, and we've seen Collingwood has bounced back from this game. They had possibilities with 2 straight losses from that last 3 games, but now they've backed themselves up and going back to their real model game, Collingwood classic. Typical role from some of them, and they managed to jump over and beat Geelong by I believe 5 points. Brisbane Lions as well, they had a close game against Adelaide Crows at the Gabba. It was a nail-biting game between Crows and Lions, but in the other hand, I think the Lions controlled the ball and held up really well from that Crows comeback. It would have been done if Brisbane Lions' opportunity to go slip into the top 4 position, and now they do themselves to move up to the 2nd position. So I think they held up the Crows really well. If it wasn't for the Adelaide, I believe they would have just slipped up to in the 9th position. That way the finals opportunity is still on their hands, but it's just fall short for it. I think it's going to be a close one, to be fair, at the Marvel Stadium, but I think I'm going to go with Brisbane Lions, possibly near 18 points. That's all I'm going to hear for. I'm seeing a lot of maybe Josh Dacos doing a lot of work with 36 disposals, touches, so that's a really impressive effort for him from the last game against Geelong. So I think he can do it again and prove some more efforts from the Collingwood for this Friday game. So yeah, next up at MCG, Richmond Tigers will go head to head with North Melbourne. Now these two sides, they had ups and downs, low games, but last week, it was not the day in the office so far. Richmond, they got demolished again. They've lost so many contest possessions. They couldn't defend really well against the St Kilda because the Saints were just too overpowered with the defensive line. It's pretty elite to see from the Saints just dominating the field and everything else against Richmond. So the Tigers need to find a way if they want to bounce themselves and hopefully just to keep the final season alive, but I don't think that's not possible to do so because it's just only one more round to go next week. And we do got two Richmond legends will be retiring and be playing from their last game of the season, which is Trent Cotchin and Jack Riewoldt. These 2 great legends played a massive game since I'm just researched about them over the past 5 years ago, I believe. I've known them since a long time ago, but now I've seen the great of good from them to end their games on high. I've seen there's a lot of achievements to appreciate from these 2 legends, and I'm proud of what they achieved so far from the Richmond club and what it means for them to play in front of the supporters. And this is gonna be a great game, a spectacular night for them to give up their last shot in the MCG in front of a home crowd of Richmond supporters, and hopefully they'll give their best shot to them. North Melbourne as well, I've seen a lot of improvements so far. They were not literally bad from the last 5 games. They were so brave from the last Essendon game. I'll give credit to that. They've been dominating Bombers some quarters, I would supposedly say, but the Bombers were they survived the scare. They just hauled off the Kangaroos, which the Kangaroos almost nearly just had a win to do get themselves on the ball once again to end their drought, but it was just not enough to slip away from the last minute. But it's a massive effort from North Melbourne, to be fair. I don't know, it's just I'm giving my consistent, and I'm considering North Melbourne to do more improvement against Richmond. So I was hoping for North Melbourne to like win this game, because I remembered the last time they faced in last year's game, North Melbourne ended their losing streak and just caused an upset against Richmond. So I think this is going to be another one in the bank so far in the meetings. That's all I'm going to see. I want to see another upset for North Melbourne to like finish it off with a win, just at least. North Melbourne are really confident from their last effort against Bombers. I think they should get over Richmond by 12 points, to be fair. I don't know, it's going to be a slight contest, to be fair, but I think North Melbourne can get that win over the board just to get themselves and end their drought from this 2023 season. Next up at Heritage Park will be Gold Coast Suns versus the Carlton Blues. I've seen the Blues, they've been on a roll with some winning streaks. They threw guts and glory as soon as possible. It's this, I think, 6 winning streaks so far. They've already achieved what they've done over the past weeks. They've just kept on winning. They're getting some good results from the last games, and I think the Blues should be happy what they've done so far, like in these typical games. So that's a really amazing display to see from the Blues and the fans as well. So I think the Blues are going to do it again against the Gold Coast Suns. In the other hand from that, they're just a bit weak from the Suns, to be fair, but they did really had some great possession so far against the Sydney Swans at the SCG. I'm quite impressive what the Carlton is just moving different ways of what they utilize everything else, like when it comes to like possession and stoppages, they just return the ball back instantly, and they just go straight at it to like in an open field and straight to the corner and just utilizing the ball really well. So that's what it impresses me more. I would say Carlton will be the better team against Gold Coast Suns at the Heritage Park. So I think they're going to walk away with 36 points, to be fair, because I think they're going to dominate every quarters with Charlie Curnow, who's going to kick some multiple goals, or they're going to win the dominant center clearance from the Blues. I know that they've just been clinical with this one, which they've got done against Melbourne Demons at the MCG, which is really impressive so far. Next up, we're heading to the Giants Stadium, which is the Giants will be taking on the Essendon Bombers. Giants, they were pretty on the roll like the last 5 games. They were doing so well with 7 winning streak record, and that's their first record in the club in its history to win 7 games in a row, and that's a big achievement to like put up a display with. And I think it's enough to like do with it. But the last 2 games to like play against Sydney Swans and Port Adelaide was a pretty shocking, to be fair. But I think the most shocking was the Port Adelaide. They've just onslaught them really hardly with just more goals to like put on the scoreboard, which is really disappointing for the Giants to like move forward with. And I think the Giants need to like improve like their defensive line, because Port Adelaide's they're a bit sharp when they go through quarters and they get the next option. They just comes out with it. The magic is just really on for the Port Adelaides. So they were a bit too strong for the Giants to like concede with. The other thing is for the Bombers, they almost survived the scare. They managed to like find their way through against North Melbourne to like snatch that victory against the Kangaroos. So I think this might be a near contest between the Giants and Bombers. So this is a most important win for these 2 sides. But the Giants were like more consistent. I think they play better footy than the Bombers, like their last meeting. Because I like the way the Giants move the ball really well. You can see Brett Daniels like moves when he plays a deep half forwards. He's really dangerous to like play with. And far as of Toby Green as well, he's really dangerous as well. As you can see in his recent games, he's been dominant. And I don't know, to be fair, I think the Giants can walk away with this game by 23 points if I'm seeing this one. But it's up to the Bombers to like put themselves on the line, because they are like in the 9th division and they want to like finish this game at the Giant Stadium with a high, so that their season can be still on the board, and hopefully they'll just possibilities will be still on their heads if they play some good footy for the Bombers. Next up, we head off to Marvel Stadium once again for St Kilda. We'll be heading against Geelong Cats in a blockbuster match, and I'm genuinely keen for this game for St Kilda. Like, last 2 games, or last 3 games I should say, was really impressive so far. We generally just keep our distance on the line. We know what we've done, what they've done so well. Like, I'm just happy to see like they're just keen to get back on track, playing some good footy once again. I'm just seeing a different role models, to be fair. Tim Membry and Sebastian Ross had a great game last game at Richmond. They've been massive so far, but I'm keeping in my mind because the Geelong Cats may have their key players back this week's game against St Kilda, but I'm not pretty sure if they are actually one of the key players are going to return and come back to this field game. But we'll just see what the team list is released. St Kilda is really confident of what they've done. We should have beat Richmond for 100, so that I think it will be enough to like beat and get the confidence on top for St Kilda. I'll be fair, this St Kilda and Geelong Cats is gonna be a tight contest, but I wouldn't be too sure, like, because I'm not really actually confident about my team, just what the performance is gonna look like against this half quality side, Geelong Cats, because I know the Cats can like move the ball, just quite the case, playing the ball really well. I do get worried about the St Kilda because we just might fuck it up in some quarters every time when we lead and we just dominated these possessions, and the dominance is stoppages. We just can't handle it, and we might lose the lead. So that's quite the frustration that it comes up with to me, and it fucks it up a bit. So I'm not too confident from the St Kilda to like get over the top with. So you may never know, but I don't know. It's gonna be a close game, but I might tip Geelong by possibly 10 points. Then we head off to Adelaide Oval, which the Swans will be hosting Adelaide Crows at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows, they almost had the line to go over the top against Brisbane Lions to keep their critical season up on the line, but it was just falling short at the Gabba. But they tried it really well, to be fair, and they were quite brave enough to like kick some more goals, with Tex Walker just again be maybe the next Brownlow medalist, to be fair, but he's really catching up against Curnow. For the Swans, they were massive at the SCG against Gold Coast, and this is another game that the Swans need to like win. It's really returning the favor from them, because they're slipping right back in the top 8, and that's a possibly chance for Swans to like finish this round up high to like possibly stay in the top 8, unless if the outside team from the next week game is gonna win and the Sydney Swans don't win, then it might be a caution from the Sydney Swans to like be aware of. I think it's gonna be a slightly contest. It might be a strong one. I would say it will be a 16-point lead against the Sydney Swans. 3 remaining games is the Doggies hosting the West Coast Eagles at Marvel Stadium once again. All I can say is it's just a preview game. Nothing I can say from these neither two sides, but one thing is just I'm gonna say about these huge words from the West Coast Eagles is like, what the fuck have I just watched from that game at the Derby? It was just critical to like watch. That's the 3rd time or 4th time that the West Coast Eagles has lost by a 100 margin point loss, and that's a critical thing from the West Coast clubs to like. It's pretty harsh to move forward, and especially in the Derby games, it's critical. Like, you can't just move on, and yeah, mistakes happen. Shit happens. It's not going your way. The Doggies were pretty much half half efforts against Hawthorn, and this is another choke from Western Bulldogs, and it's just heartbreaking to like watch from the last previous games. It's just another chokehold. It's like the quite a start from Western Bulldogs to like finish the quarters, like more than 1 to 3 quarters. They were pretty hot and extreme and just got away pretty fast. And then suddenly fourth quarter, they just got blown away from the mighty Flying Hawks. But I'm quite pretty sure that the doggies they need to get themselves back on track, but they might be too strong for the West Coast Eagles because they've dominated so many possessions, and I think they're gonna be too strong with the ball movement and how they change their models like really well. All I can say from the Bulldogs is just win. That's it. Just to get a valuable win and you'll be done. The Bulldogs will walk away by 89 points because they're gonna be too strong for West Coast. There's no chance that Eagles is gonna like concede with more goals in each quarters. Next up, it is Hawthorn versus Melbourne Demons. The Hawks have like been in a great form so far. They're in well shaped with playing good footy once again. They're just back on their track and just back on the rail once again and just traveling on their highway to like success. They're being impressive so far. Last 2 games was very impressive against Collingwood. They just caused another upset of the season, and I think that's got to be the upset of the season of this 2023. And I think they can do it again against Melbourne Demons if Melbourne Demons have the game plan to like snatch that victory. I think they can find a way to like counter back to it. But I don't know, these two sides need a win so far. Possibly on behalf side from the Melbourne Demons, they just need to win and just stop the Hawthorns attacking line. Possibly like if they could win around like 42 or possibly like 65 points will do, and just slip their way back to the second on the ladder. So this is going to be a simple win, a task for Melbourne Demons to redeem themselves from the last robbed game for that umpire's call for Christopher Traga's goal against the Carlton. Now we head off to the very final game to wrap up round 23. It is the Fremantle Doggers at Optus Stadium will be hosting Port Adelaide at their home deck. Port Adelaide and Fremantle Doggers, both of them were really successful the last game against the opposition teams, both 100, an impressive victory so far. But I think the Dockers were quite much more impressive to me, to be fair, because of the crappy side against West Coast. It's just pretty dominant, especially with Port Adelaide. They conceded like an onslaught goals with just too much strong competitive composure against the Giants. They just taught them a lesson. I think Port Adelaide is going to put maybe another sword, if I'm correct. Possibly Sam Powell-Pepper is going to be the main problem in the Optus Stadium game if he has a chance to find himself on this next game at Perth. But I think the other hand, the Dockers are possibly like really good with counter attacks and conceding with more goals. Possibly it's going to be up and downs goals, but I'm not seeing too much at the last quarter because I think Port Adelaide's just going to slip up with this fourth quarter, possibly a chance, finishing off with 36 points. So this will wraps up the AFL Round 23 prediction of mine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and possibly the game day vlog, of course, is on this Sunday, and it's for the qualifying finals. Parramatta Go Rounders will be taking on Glebe Greyhounds, and we managed to like finish off the season in first place, so we have the possibly chance to make it to the grand final against Glebe, which the two sides that we played against these blokes before, we beat them like twice already, so we should be confident as well as the boys, and hopefully we'll just get over the line and straight to this grand final, and this 3-team alliance will go all the way. Hopefully for the boys, just had a massive cracker game, and that game day vlog will be posted like maybe late Sunday, but I'll probably record some videos if I get the chance to. But make sure you stay tuned with this one because it's going to be a cracker one for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, this will wrap up with this video. If you guys do enjoy it, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification so you never miss any videos that I'll be uploading just for a second in these couple of days. But yeah guys, I will catch up with this video and hopefully you guys can see you guys on the next video. Cheers lads.